breaking news while you were sleeping that profoundly changes the landscape of the NBA's Eastern Conference. Giannis taking his talents to South Beach, the Bucks trading him to the Heat in exchange for a package headlined by Tyler Hero, tons of draft picks and swaps in there. Milwaukee spurning an offer made by the Celtics that included Jaylen Brown and 2 first-round picks. Here are the details of the trade here. You see Giannis going one way. Look at all those picks, including the one tonight. So there's some good draft opportunities for Milwaukee tonight, and we'll see what they wind up doing. And look who has stopped by for a cameo. Our buddy Vincent Goodwill is in here with us. What is your number one takeaway on Giannis going to Miami?
I think we've forgotten how great Giannis is. We have taken note of all the noise surrounding Giannis over the past couple of years. Will he sign? Will he not sign? The Hamlet sort of thing. We've forgotten that this guy is an incredible ball player. He authored one of the greatest defensive plays we've ever seen in the NBA Finals. And now you partner him with the Miami Heat, who know how to find role players at low prices. The Gabe Vincents of the world, the Max Struses, the Duncan Robinsons. They have limited resources, but they know how to scout. And then you put him with Bam Adebayo and possibly Andrew Wiggins. That's a great defensive front line looking forward to next season.
So in your, and again, we discussed it, for those of you just joining us here, bottom of the hour, we had a pretty good conversation about what they're going to have to do to fill out a roster now. Yeah. They basically have Giannis and Bam, and then we'll sort of figure it out from there for the most part. You're saying you have confidence in their ability to do that, to be a true contender this coming season?
That's tough because the league tells us that it takes you a year to figure stuff out. It takes you a year to work the kinks out, to get resources, to load back up. Remember, they don't have the draft capital. They don't have 13. 13 would have been great this year, if nothing else, cost control draft picks. I don't think they're going to be able to get it done, but you didn't make this move for this season. You made this move for the next 3 seasons. That's as far as you can build in today's NBA. It's 3 years. You got a 3-year window, and then you have to recalibrate. Giannis being there at age 31 this year, Bam Adebayo still being in his prime, being maybe one of the best two-way players, especially defensively. I think this year's the setup year, and next year's the year you run.
I mean, when we put the odds up there from DraftKings and we showed that the Heat now have the 3rd shortest odds in the East behind the Celtics and the Knicks, you immediately took issue with that.
They don't have a team. They don't have a team yet. They're going to have to build out. You need shooting in this day and age. They don't really have that. They have to make sure Wiggins is in the fold. Wiggins could now be plucked elsewhere, but I do think he'll stay there. But they're going to lose their all-star, Norm Powell. Norm Powell was their all-star. Unless he takes a crazy discount, he's going to be gone. They have to replace him. So Vinny is right. Andy Ellisberg, their general manager, is superior at his job. Eric Spoelstra, their development staff. I'm betting on the Heat, just not in 26, 27.
Okay, so we've got through all of this, and then we get to the Jaylen Brown of it all. I'll let you get one comment before. I've been waiting to say this all morning long. I just want to hear your take on it. Do you believe the Celtics still intend, at the end of the day, you believe he will be traded before the season begins?
I think unless you massage the relationship with cold, hard cash.
That's right.
Meaning 2 years and $140 million, which can soothe any relationship. I think you have to look at it and say, does Jaylen Brown want to be in Boston? Not does Boston want Jaylen Brown, but Jaylen Brown always feels unappreciated by the NBA at large, and probably feels underappreciated by the Celtics, being dangled out here for months after we're leading this team to what? Almost 60 wins, the gap year. Now, granted, it did not end well, but now you have to ask yourself the question, who's a Jaylen Brown away? Is Jaylen Brown viewed by the league as a number 2 guy or as a number 1 guy that just needs the right situation?
Yeah, Jaylen Brown might not end up in a bad spot here. Number 1, he might end up with his own team, which seems to be what he wants. And he might get that extension with the team he goes to. In a month, Jaylen Brown might be, chilling in the shade thinking this worked out just fine.
That dude is the greatest at creating causes. He, like all of us create causes to get somewhere maybe we can't get without some type of external motivation. Like, he had this monster year, yet he's walking around, I'm underappreciated. Come on, dude. I mean, you led the team to 60 wins. You just want to be the dude, and Boston decided that Jason Tatum is going to be the centerpiece of our organization. So he felt like that was a slap in the face. I think you're 100% right. He can find a place where he's a 1A and get his money, or he's going to go over to China and find some
He's not going to China, but Jaylen Brown is probably still underrated, but he's not disrespected. Let's just be clear. But he's got to do what he's got to do.
Who's underrating him, though, Wendy? I mean, like other teams that are game planning for him, they're not underrated.
Well, he probably thinks the Celtics are underrated.
Yeah, I think basically he thinks that the whole world views me, and this is, I don't even like using this analogy because it sounds so disrespectful to the person that I make it. I think he feels like the world views him as the Scottie Pippen to Jason Tatum's Michael Jordan, and he's saying, hell no, that's not who or what I am. I am a 1A. I am Batman. I am whatever Marvel character is at the top of that universe. I am the best player on a championship team, and I think he proved it this year. I'm not convinced. I will never be convinced he wasn't the best player on the Celtics all these years. And they didn't not get through that first-round playoff series because Jaylen Brown isn't good enough. They didn't get through that playoff series because they hoist up threes uncontrollably without giving any thought to it at any point, and they live by it and they die by it, and they've died by it more times than they've won by it, yet they stick to it all the time. He was phenomenal this year. He was absolutely a top 3 or 4 candidate for
Counterpoint.
MVP. Go.
The analytics showed that his plus-minus wasn't really that impactful.
Yeah, because
now you would look at that
all around him.
I know. I'm just telling you that the Celtics look at this and say maybe there's another way.
If right now you're going to tell me there was a list of 10 players in the NBA who are better two-way players than Jaylen Brown, better on both ends of the floor, more tenacious, better leaders,
he is treating you like a hostile witness right now.
I'm just saying, I'm questioning the entire basketball universe.
But I'm saying that if you're going to keep Jason Tatum, there is a better player to play next to him to get the Celtics where they need to go.
Do you think Brad Stevens is good at his job?
Yeah, I think Brad Stevens is a very smart guy.
He wants to trade him.
I know.
So what is that? What
I don't understand it. I am very confused. There was a time and place when we used to say Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown can't win together. Mm-hmm. They disproved that. They won the championship together.
And if it were me, I would keep them together because I think it's, if you have wings that can play both ends of the court that have size in 2026, that's what you do.
Right.
The guy who's going to be the Hall of Fame executive says we need a trade.
Here's the other part of it. The Celtics won that championship. If you think about the totality of this, they've blown more series than they won. They blew that Game 7 at home against Miami. Mm-hmm. They blew the NBA Finals against the Golden State Warriors where it was Stephen Curry and a bunch of Tito Jacksons. No disrespect to Tito Jackson. And then you blow this year's series.
There's a bunch of Hall of Famers on that team, Vinny, but go ahead.
That was the best. That was a virtuoso performance by Stephen Curry when they were on the ropes and the Celtics did not put them away. You blew the series against the Knicks last year when you had the best team in the NBA, and you blew the series against the Philadelphia 76ers, who didn't win another game and didn't look completely close to a competitive outfit after beating you. So there are a lot of questions about the Celtics as a whole. Jaylen Brown is going to take the brunt of that based off of being traded. He's going to go somewhere.
Look, he started this at the end of that series when they lost in the playoffs.
Right.
He started by what he said. He kind of dropped the message that, wait a second, I'm being disrespectful. You have an ego, I have an ego, you have an ego, you have an ego. And players that are making millions of dollars and feel like they're as good as any player in the game, they have egos. And right now, where they figured it out to win an NBA championship at one point, right now, they are not compatible. So Brad Stevens' job is to find a player that complements Jason Tatum.
I'll just say this. I know that the playoffs and the regular season are two totally different animals. But I know that when Jaylen Brown was the leader of that team, they overachieved in the regular season. And when it kind of went a different direction, they underachieved in the playoffs.
And I'm just going to say, Brad Stevens came out at the end of the season and said we weren't good enough.
Right.
So he saw that season and said we're not good enough.
Because they're not good enough for the playoffs. Because the playoff is, look, there are 82-game players, and there are guys that can dominate in the playoffs. You've got to be a different animal to dominate in the playoffs.
Jaylen Brown is both, but they've made their mind up. You can say that that's a mistake, but they have decided that Jaylen Brown is not where they need to go.
Here's the bigger thing, Greeny. We assume that Jason Tatum is going to come back looking like Jason Tatum just because he came back quickly off of that Achilles.
Right.
We don't know if Jason Tatum is going to look like the athlete that he was. And maybe they're taking that into the calculus of what type of team do we have to build around Jason Tatum to sort of make up for whatever he may not be athletically.
I want to sneak one thing in quickly here because I want Vinny to hear what this sneaky big news out of the NBA last night. Sort of buried beneath the layers of the Giannis trade, Julius Randle traded to the Nets. Windy, why is this interesting beyond the player himself?
Okay, so if you say to me Giannis has now been traded, who would be the next NBA star that you would watch? The answer would be Anthony Edwards. And it just so happens that this trade happens at the same time Giannis gets traded. This is a salary dump. The Timberwolves had have paid $100 million in luxury tax over the last 3 years. It coincides with their 3 best years of their franchise history, 2 conference finals, and they made it to the second round this year. But in addition to this move, dumping Julius Randle, they signed Ayo Dosunmu last night to a 5-year, $112 million contract. So essentially, they're taking the money that they're saving by dumping Randle and re-signing a player that they already have.
Right.
They are not adding to the team. Already, Anthony Edwards has watched Karl Towns, a player he totally fit with on the court, be traded to the Knicks and win a championship. Last summer, they let Nickeil Alexander-Walker go. He goes and wins Most Improved Player down in Atlanta. Now, Julius Randle was not good in the playoffs. I am not arguing that Julius Randle should be the running mate for Anthony Edwards, but they trade him in a salary dump. It's not a good trend for the Timberwolves, and you have to wonder how Ant looks at that.
Have any reaction?
I looked at what do they got? A $28 million trade exception,
33.
$33 million trade exception. They better fill that with a player, and they better fill it quickly, expeditiously, because you don't want Anthony Edwards, who has carried the likes of Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, Julius Randle to the Western Conference Finals, players that as a whole, up until now, we did not think of Karl Anthony Towns as a championship player. He's proven it, but we did not think of him that way. We didn't think of that as Rudy Gobert or Julius Randle. Anthony Edwards carried those guys to the Western Conference Finals, and now you're leaving him with nothing under the guise of finances.
Right.
Let's see how that goes out. Let's see how that plays.
That's an important one to keep an eye on. And in Iran, Vincenzo, awesome to have you here. Coming up, we will get to the business of tonight.